So Satou Sabally. Satou Sabally. She is arguably the best free agent available. Honestly, no. Like, she is the best realistic free agent available. The best free agent available is Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart is going nowhere. I'm sorry. I think she's already said she is staying with the Liberty. They're going to core, and she is happy to stay. Obviously, when it comes to the core rules, you can core players, but you can only be cored a certain amount of times. And yes, Satou can be cored. But nobody has ever been cored and forced to play against their will. I think Elena Deladon was cored last year because she didn't want to play in Washington, and she just didn't play basketball. So there's no way a team would do that to a young player. But if you look at this year's free agents, so look, if you're looking at the top tier free agents, DeWanna Bonner, not going to go to Indiana. Nneka Nwumeke is staying in Seattle. Stewie is staying in New York. Kelsey Mitchell is staying in Indiana. Alyssa Thomas is staying in Connecticut, or she's going wherever DeWanna Bonner goes. Bree Jones is probably going to be gone, but Bree Jones will be in Connecticut if Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner want to leave. Diane Taurasi might retire, and if she doesn't retire, she's going to take a lower deal. Natasha Howard is gone. I don't know where she's going to go to, but she's gone. So, outside of Satou and like Kelsey Plum, there's no really like absolutely elite free agents that don't already play for the Fever. And Kelsey Mitchell. Like after that, you're looking at them having to spend like a near max on getting Parker Tyus. We're trying to convince Izzy Harrison to come for $150K a year. Like there's no point. Or Ariel Powers or something like that. To be fair, Ariel Powers is doing what she can to get to Atlanta as well. I do want to say this, like, Ariel Powers is also trying to force her way to Indiana. Like, but if you did not see with Satou Sabally, so she's come out and said she's a free agent. And then, Overtime said, Satou teaming up with Caitlin, kind of here for that narrative. Obviously, after liking a whole bunch of posts yesterday about playing in Indiana. And now she is after liking a post to say free agent Satou to Indiana. Like, she's doing one of two things. She's either trying to force her way to Indiana, or she is she's trolling and preparing to become the villain. She is ready to become the villain. Like, she is just constantly liking posts. She's constantly liking posts about going to Indiana. Like, she's not liking any posts about the Chicago Sky. There are equally as many people, Sky fans, commenting, go to Chicago. Go to Chicago. And she's not doing that. She's only going to Indiana. Like, she's not going to be going to... she's only going to Indiana. She's only liking posts about going to Indiana. I gotta say, like, it's an interesting way of using Instagram to try to force your way to a place. But I do think that she gets cored. I think she's going to get cored for one reason and one reason only. It's not going to stop her going to her destination, but it's going to guarantee that... it's going to guarantee that they get something for her. So, if I'm Indiana, if I'm Dallas, you're probably getting NaLyssa Smith, the 8th pick, and their pick in 2026. Like, that's probably what you're getting for Satou. You're getting the 8th pick, Smith, and the 2026 first. And I'm good with that if I'm Indiana. I'm genuinely good with that if I'm Indiana. Like, I would try to make some sort of a trade to get into the second, get another second round pick maybe, if there's a team that has too many picks, because I do think there's a chance Sivka drops to the second round. Like, Layla Filia will be there in the second round. Like, you just don't know if they're there at your pick in the second round, which is going to be like the 8th pick in the second round. So you kind of want one of these young guards in this deep draft, these young wings. But I also think the only problem with that is giving up the 8th pick. If Sonia Citron's not on the board, like, Barker's a pretty good player. But if, like, I would, again, take Satou over any of them. Satou is an all-W player. And I think that's about what you're going to get for a player. Like, Satou's probably at the level of a Kat Copper. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Sky gave up, like, Cardoso or they gave the pick for Cardoso. Sky. Mercury had to give, like, the pick for Cardoso. And then I think Was it like a pick swap 2 years down the line or something? And they didn't give up a crazy amount to get Kat Copper. But if a player doesn't want to be there, they don't want to be there. And this isn't like the Mabry deal, where Mabry was probably perfectly happy, I think, in Dallas. And no team is dumb enough to make the Mabry deal again. I think the best Dallas are going to get for Satou, because of the whole 1 year contract and everyone being a free agent in 2026 and no guarantee that she re-signs with Indiana after the trade. The best I think they're going to get is Nalissa Smith, this year's first round pick, and next year's first round pick. That's the best you're going to get for Satou. And if a player wants to go to a specific place, with the way the WNBA's been, you kind of have to send them to that specific place, especially if it's within the salary cap. And if you get off Nalissa Smith and you don't have a first round pick coming in, the Fever can afford Satou. The Fever can afford Satou, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull as their starting five. And then you've got a bench of... The problem is like you need someone on the bench. For me, I'm doing everything I can to convince Janelle Salone to come over. She's complete free agent, and she'd be a rookie. And for her, I'd try to sign her on like a 1 year deal, because she might want to get paid the next year. And it means that they're not signing a rookie deal when the salary cap spikes. I would try to get her. I would just play Grace Berger more. If she doesn't get taken in the expansion draft, I would play Grace Berger more. If not, there are players you'll be able to find. There are players you're going to be able to find that are going to be more than capable of playing a few minutes a game. There are athletes everywhere. And as they're the type of players I would look for. Is Temmie's good on the bench? I'd look to trade Dantas, because I think Dantas is a good player, but she has a lot more value to a team that isn't Indiana. I would look to, like, if you've got Temmie as your backup 4-5, and you've then got, like, you can keep Saxton in there, because I think Saxton showed that she can actually play a bit of a role if Temmie does go down injured. You've got Katie Lou, who can play the 3-4 off the bench. Satou can probably play a bit at the 5. So you've got those type of lineups in there, and I would probably look to trade what's her name for like a point guard. I would look at a team that maybe has excess point guards but no bigs, and look to trade Dantas for one of those type of players. Like, so you can get a matching up contract for a guard, like just as a bench guard, someone to run the show when Caitlin Clark's not on the floor. Ideally, again, an ideal situation is that Dantas gets taken in the expansion draft out in Grace Berger, and Grace Berger can be that player. Or heck, if Erica Wheeler's willing to play for the minimum, that works too. But yeah, Satou Sabally to Indiana is looking like it could be a thing. It's looking like it could be a thing. She's not even hiding it. She's not even hiding it anymore. Like, whatever better like in the comments, you were like, oh, she likes every comment. No, she liked like 6 comments, and 2 of them were about going to Indiana. And then she's literally out here liking posts about her joining Indiana. A post about her joining up with Caitlin Clark in the Fever. And obviously Satou Sabally has spoken highly of Caitlin Clark beforehand. But yeah, and I'm thinking, look, if you're Satou Sabally's agent, you're probably just telling her, like, go to Indiana, you might win a title, and even if you don't, you are going to become the second biggest star in the sport, because you are better than Kelsey Mitchell. You are better than Aaliyah Boston. No offense to either of them, they're both all-stars. They both weren't too far off making all W teams. Satou's better than both of them. Like, if we are talking about best players in the world, Satou is in the best 10. Like, for me, Satou was better than Enrique. Satou's the best player on the wings. She made the All-W first team 2 years ago. And she's, 26? She's 2 years younger than me. Like, she's not old, but Satou making it very, very obvious that she wants to be in Indiana. And that would be unbelievable for the Fever.